All right, hello everybody. Hopefully everybody had a good Thanksgiving. We're gonna wait a few minutes. Let's people see if we can get people to show up here. Hopefully everybody's weekend went well. Of course, as you all know, we had a bit of an extended break here on the Mikestand. Had decided not to do any episodes for obviously for Thanksgiving night or Thanksgiving Friday. And I see we have a second person here. Hello, second person. I hope you had a good weekend. Hope you had a good Thanksgiving. Um, so, hopefully all is well with you and your family, and we're just again waiting for more people to show up to before I get started. Um, yeah, so hopefully you all had good time, good food, and good family time. Um, I did hear that Pops. I guess I caught some of Pops streams over the weekend. Apparently, I guess he got a case of food poisoning, so that's never fun. You get that during Thanksgiving, the holidays. But yeah, so anyways, we we do we do have like 8 stories we'll go through tonight, and I'll kind of give the preview of that, as I said, in a few minutes. Just give some people a little time to get in here. Um, and it would appear that the second person is lurking, which is fine. Um, let's see now. Hmm. So I myself had we have 3 people in here. Hello, third person. Good. We now have some people showing up a bit here. Um, I hope you had a good weekend. We had an extended break. Let's see. I myself, 4 people. Wow, 4 people now. Yay, 4 people. Okay. So that's a good sign. So, all right, 4 people watching. Okay, so here's what we're going to do with 4 people now. I guess I will go ahead and kind of get started right away here. Because I don't want to lose anybody. Okay, so here's what's on tap for tonight. We got 8 stories to go over. 4 comics related, 4 anime related. Um, basically all 4 of the comics related stories have something to do with DC and or Marvel, including the first 2, which have basically some stuff to do with DC and Marvel getting into partnerships with certain things with the government. In one story with involved, you got DC and Warner Media who are partnering up with the Biden administration um, to promote COVID vaccine for kids. And then we also going to look at Ethan Van Sciver's comments on how Marvel and DC are enabling the U.S. labor regulations to make comics are being enabled by U.S. labor regulations to make comics, as he quoted, woke bait. We also will have some stories where, in one case, where artist David Aja wants Marvel to stop crediting and start paying for comic book adaptations like Disney's Hawkeye. And then we got a story in regards to the Marvel X-Men Green arc. On the anime side of it, we got some profile pieces regarding some of the titles. Got some profile pieces, including and thank you, Potts, for sharing my video. That was kind of you. Thank you. I just saw that on my notifications there. So yeah, so we had some people here. So I'm going to go ahead and get started because I don't want people dropping off. So let's go ahead and start getting into this then. All right, so without any further ado, let's go ahead and get started on the news of the. Okay, so here we go. The first story we're going to look at is over here. The story right here, which was actually from last Wednesday. DC Comics and Warner Media teaming with Biden administration to promote COVID shots for children. Article by J.B. Augustine, published published this past Wednesday. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. DC Comics and Warner Media are following in the footsteps of Big Bird and Sesame Street in their joint push with the Biden administration to push for childhood COVID vaccinations. Yeah, to hell with the Constitution, right? To hell with parents' rights, right? That's the left's credo. The government is your God. The government is your parent, not your parents, not Jehovah. So, um, but anyways, not that I'm gonna get, not that this is meant to get onto any kind of major political rant or ideological rant or anything, but you know, but this is obviously a good way of showing how propaganda can work. Let's see what else they have to say here. DZ shared a tweet and press release publicizing the initiative that includes giveaways of posters, bandages, and coloring and activity books to Children's Hospital Association medical facilities. They tweeted, quote, "We are thrilled to collaborate with Warner Media, Children's Hospital Association, and the Biden-Harris administration to promote COVID-19 vaccinations by providing posters, bandages, and coloring and activity books as giveaways at Children's Hospital Association clinics." Yeah, I wonder how a lot of these parents feel about basically their kids being bribed to get get the shot. There might be some that are not too happy with that, I would imagine. But anyways, kids 5 to 12 will receive the quote custom DC designed posters to theme and hospitals, along with DC superhero branded adhesive bandages and coloring activity books, unquote, says the press release. After they get a COVID shot at a children's hospital location. This will be, quote, an ongoing collaboration between Warner Media and Biden Harris administration, unquote. So it's safe to assume it will continue for the next 4 years. Well, maybe two if we get lucky and we can vote, we can get Biden and Harris voted out in 2024, but that's a little bit of a ways away. So, anyways, as we continue on with the article here, First Lady Jill Biden made an appearance at the Texas Children's Hospital in Houston with actors dressed as Superman and Wonder Woman to meet kids who were given their shots and paraphernalia. Again, they figured they'd try to bribe the kids. I mean, obviously these parents must have consented to taking their kids to get the shots because um, they obviously took them there. Quote, knowing that needles and hospitals can seem scary to children, the First Lady of the United States, Dr. Jill Biden, along with Wonder Woman and Superman, visited um, Texas Children's Hospital in Houston on Sunday, November 14th, which was about a couple weeks ago, to support the children receiving the COVID-19 vaccine, unquote, says the DC press release. Now, okay, here's one of the big problems I have with this, too. Okay, you see Superman and Wonder Woman having to wear masks as well. Okay, if you know anything about Comet King, first off, Superman's Kryptonian DNA would have probably prevented him from getting COVID. Okay. I think his Kryptonian DNA would have protected him from getting COVID. And Wonder Woman is endowed by Greek gods. So they, well, of course, it's like, really? You paranoid pieces of garbage. Okay. Wonder Woman is endowed by the gods. She's practically immortal. Yeah, she can be poisoned. She can be, but I don't think the COVID-19 would have a major effect on Wonder Woman, okay, or Superman for that matter. And you guys can share your opinions on that in the chat, of course. But anyways, getting back to the story here. I just wanted to go back up and just make some commentary on that because I thought that was kind of dumb. Again, this is the left trying to use established characters to push their agenda. To hell with continuity. Hell with with it. Warner Media Global Brands and Experiences president Pam Lifford provided a comment. Quote, the DC superheroes have been symbols of hope, strength, and wonder to children of all ages over 80 years. Now, that part is true. Yeah, that part is true. Quote, we are truly honored to be supporting the real life heroic work at children's hospitals to promote childhood vaccinations against COVID 19. Clifford added. Translation, we're going to use these beloved characters as propaganda to force vaccines into your kids' bodies, even if you may not agree with it. We're going to do whatever it takes to take control of your. Hey, Bat Goat, how you doing, man? Yeah, we're just going through under this article here. Um, Also, any news on when you're going on your Christmas break? I know you said you might be leaving earlier. Are you still leaving the 11th, or are you actually leaving this week? If you can let me know about that, I'd appreciate it so that I can make this week we'll be doing the historical comic retrospective. If you're going to be already on your vacation, I need to know so I can make other arrangements. But anyways, getting back to the article. Thank you for being here, Backo. Thank everybody for being here. So, anyways, and we got a third person back. Good, yay! Taking car in tomorrow morning. I'll know more in a day or two. All right, just keep me apprised, Batgoat, because I want to know as soon. I want to know as soon as possible. So if I do need to make other arrangements, I can do that in a timely manner, not just have everything kind of just blow up on me. And you might have noticed too, but I guess they finally did it. Everybody will do. Yeah, now you don't see the number of dislikes anymore. You may have seen that already on my. Now they're even showing you can no longer see the count on my videos anymore either. So finally did get around to doing it for everybody. Looks like. So, anyways, back to the back to the back to this story here. And this scene, of course, is from episode Batman the Animated Series, in which Batman had come under the influence of um, Scarecrow's fear toxin, and Dr. Bartholomew here was trying to, I think, sedate him. They brought him into Arkham. So Warner's previously partnered with the Biden White House, the CDC, and the U.S. Department of Health to raise awareness and encourage masking and vaccination through their Mask Up America and getting their campaigns. The push for vaccinations and boosters continue to become greater, and young children are in the mix now that schools are mostly back in session. Batman Robin movie there. In reaction, vocal parents, some of whom are public figures, worried about their safety and efficacy. Oh wait, worry. Okay. In reaction, vocal parents, some of whom are public figures, worried about their safety and efficacy, are questioning mask mandates and compulsory COVID shots louder than ever. Well, this is definitely a violation of the Constitution. Regardless of where you stand on that, tell us what you think of the latest PR campaign by DC Comics and the White House down below. So, well, personally, I think again, it's they're using propaganda. They're once again using established characters to push their agenda. Anyways, back to a couple of things. Yeah, I see that. I'm still going to send that email off to YouTube, but I'm failing at uploading to my laptop. I'll figure it out. So, all right. Shut up, Marxist. Well, unfortunately, right now the Marxists seem to have control of the mainstream media. That's one of the major problems. Those Marxists, as you call them, unfortunately have the control of the mainstream media at the moment. So, anyways, let's get ready to move on to the next article here, which a bat goat. It's one of your favorites, Uncle Ethan. Ethan Van Sciver says Marvel and DC enabled by U.S. labor regulations to make comics "quote unquote" woke bait. Where are we at? 18. So we're just. Woody's here. Hello, Woody. I don't. What happened to you last week? That goat, you need a technical assistant. What happened to you, and guys? I do thank you guys for the likes and shares. I do appreciate that. If you guys can go ahead and, if you haven't already, like and share the stream, see if we can get some more friendlier people here. They are in control. True. Morning, Wood. Yeah, Woody. Hopefully, and I don't know if you guys heard me earlier before the stream, but I hope you all had a good Thanksgiving holiday. I know we had an extended break as I took Thursday and Friday off. So hopefully you guys are enjoying the stream thus far. Anyways, back to the article here. We already read. So this article, of course, was by J.D. Augustine, published this past Friday. Cyberfrog creator and outspoken critic of the current mainstream comic industry, Ethan Van Sciver, continues to call out what he refers to as quote unquote woke bait, peddled by Marvel and DC. As we said as we were talking about in the last article too, um, idea of using these established characters to push their agenda. He adds, though, that the U.S. government is enabling and possibly paying with your tax dollars for what amounts to propaganda from activists at its worst. Yeah, I could see that. In a long Twitter thread, Van Sciver wrote, quote, Marvel and DC have become woke bait for potentially trillions of dollars of ESG, environmental social governance. Yeah, I know Flash was talking about this earlier too. I guess this ESG thing is a new way they're grading people on how much social justice work they're doing, just how woke they are. This ESG investment capital, your future, your money. They're getting it whether you buy their woke garbage comics or not. Yeah. Yeah, I would almost think that they're using taxpayer dollars. That might stir up another Boston Tea Party. And what you guys are saying. Yeah, usually I need a few drinks to get motivated on the computer, then laugh out loud. Something about girlfriends and remodeling projects and mixing well. Not mixing well. Ah, okay. Uncle E, he's our guy. Uh-huh. I'm eating some pizza slices right now. Yo homes, yo homies. Pizza, considering this is just a few days after Thanksgiving, right? Hmm. He lays the blame on corporations for chasing social agendas during the administration of former President Barack Obama. Van Sciver tweeted prior, under Obama, employers became able to gamble their employees' futures on their own personal social causes and beliefs by expressly allowing businesses to, in smaller quotes, make investment decisions that reflect climate change and other environmental, social governance (ESG) considerations. This was a U-turn from Labor Department regulations that stipulated companies and investment managers had to select profitable exchange-traded funds (ETFs) or mutual funds for employees' 401ks based on tenable financial factors. Which I think if Trump or somebody like him can get or Trump can get reelected or somebody like him gets elected, might go back to that system. Van Sciver tweeted, quote, once more, the U.S. Department of Labor used to enforce regulation that employers and their investment managers chose their employees' investment plans based on financial factors. They need to choose mutual funds or ETFs that look profitable for their employees' 401k plans. quote unquote big corporations could then virtue signal freely without proving their profitability. Quote, to attract investment capital, they only needed to prove they weren't transphobic and cared about diversity and inclusion, unquote. Which, quite honestly, is not a very profitable move. Okay, you're not gonna make money on diversity and inclusion. I'm sorry, but that's just the way it is. There's a new used there's a new used tranny in my I guess transmission in my truck. A working circuit board in my heat pump, and a smoking hole where my money used to be. Oh boy. Blow that cash there, Woody. Blow that cash. Blow it, blow it, blow it. Blow it, blow it, blow it. Blow it, blow it, blow it. The Cyberfrog creator added, quote, it's pretty easy for massive companies like Disney to whore out their comic book publishing division to the required activist, and that's precisely what they've done, unquote. And that's why they're not making any real money anymore. They're just leeching off the taxpayers. And we've seen Yellow Flash do a number of videos on how manga is just kicking the you know what out of American comic books. And it's stuff like this that's the reason why. This is, aside from the fact their story is obviously better because they're not, quote unquote, pushing the social agenda, but, but also doing garbage like this. Let's see. Like many others at the wheel in several industries. Naturally, the Labor Department under President Trump tried to fix this runaway activity, but Joe Biden is reverting to the policy and norms of the Obama years, quote unquote, quietly. Of course he is. Of course he is. As a friend of mine and I were talking about earlier, Biden's a puppet. Biden is a puppet. He's being wound up by people like Harris and Pelosi and Schumer. Laugh out wood, but you got it done. Yep. And Biden is doing it behind the backs of the consumer. Quote, you probably didn't even know it was happening, unquote, Vancouver wrote. Quote, but now you know why, unquote. Continuing his thread, he added, quote, it should be clear why gender and race swapping of classic comic book characters, unquote, and, quote, why every third character, unquote, grabs headlines on CNN and in the New York Times for coming out as gay or bisexual. And of course, we've talked about this at length too, with the whole thing with Robin being announced as bi, Jonathan Kent, Tim Drake coming out as bi, and then Jonathan Kent coming out as bi, and Nubia, and In his closing thought, Van Sciver expressed his belief, made evident by Twitter's quote unquote SJW population, that companies aren't left wing in principle. They are only taking the easy route by being virtue signaling SJWs because showing profit potential is too hard. So I think the translation there is that Ethan Van Sciver is basically saying that these corporations are just too lazy to stand up to the woke BS. They're just too lazy to stand up to the woke. And YouTube's being screwy again with the view account. I don't really believe that you guys disappeared on me like that. Anyways, now we're back up to 2, so that's good. Oh, and I don't know, Batgut, I don't know if you see this, but I guess on his Twitter handle now, he calls himself a charming man. EVS does. And I guess to a certain extent, he probably is a charming man. He's definitely got quite a bit of charisma because he's got a lot of people follow him. More than enabling, the government is collaborating with the comic industry when the moment calls for it, as in the case of DC using giveaways and special material to promote vaccinations of children under 12 at children's hospitals around the country. Yep, and we did go over that article too. Now, let's see. There we go with that one. You guys still here with me? Woody, Batgoat, you guys still here with me? All right, so now we're going to get to the next article here. That's how he starts his show. The world's most charming, elegant, and eloquent man. Here. Alrighty then. Let's go ahead and move on to the next article here. I guess that's supposed to be Hawkeye from Marvel. Artist David Aja wants Marvel to quote stop crediting, start paying unquote for comic book adaptations like Disney's Hawkeye. Article by Spencer McCulley, published this past Saturday, the 27th. Well, let's get into this one here. Despite his and writer Matt Fraction's, for better or worse, popular run on the character serving as direct inspiration for the show's aesthetics, straight down to one of his covers being recreated for the Disney Plus series marketing material, artist David Aja wants Marvel and Disney to, quote, stop crediting and start paying, unquote. Matt Fraction, who, as I recall, is the husband of Kelly Sue DeConnick, the lady who basically said, if you don't like my politics, don't buy my book. This cover right here, I guess. Let's see, this cover right here. 6 Nights in the Life of Hawkeye. Join the Revolution. Fraction Aja Hollingsworth. Source Hawkeye Volume 4, Number 6. 6 Days in the Life of 2012 Marvel Comics. Third printing cover art by David Aja. Aja appeared to note his lack of pay for Hawkeye on October 24th during a discussion of the show's official promotional poster, which, as noted above, recreates the artist cover seen above for Hawkeye Volume 4, Number 6. The artwork, specifically its purple third printing color variant, was also used as the cover for the second trade volume of Hawkeye Volume 4 Little Hits. Hawkeye, the Archer, Avenging Archer. Just give me a quick sec, guys. I'm going to go off camera for a real quick sec. I'll be right back. All right. So, anyways, as I recall, so no one did buy her book. Yeah, well, if you remember, we actually read an article. What was it, like a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago, where she and her husband Matt Fraction there were actually complaining that people were not buying her book. So that's what you call karma. Are there new car issues or just getting ready for a road trip? Anyways, back to the article here. In response to a fan excitedly declaring that the quote official poster paying homage to the Matt Fraction comics is the coolest thing ever, unquote, DC Comics artist Bruno Redondo of Nightwing Volume 4 and Justice 2 pushed back, quote, stop crediting just writers, mostly when the visual tribute is just that, straight based on at Davaja cover. Joining the conversation, Aja himself replied to Redondo, proposing, quote, even better, stop crediting, start paying. Ha ha, unquote. Circling back, said fan apologized for, quote, not crediting Davaja soon enough, unquote, adding, quote, this Hawkeye run wouldn't be what it is today without him and all the other people involved. Also, pay them! WTF, unquote. Anyways, let's see now. Aja is credited on the first episode of Hawkeye. He received a quote with special thanks to unquote credit alongside Brian Michael Bendis, Jim Chung, David Finch, Matt Fraction, Alan Heinberg, Brian Hitch, Mark Miller, Lou Mugen, Joe Quesada, Leonardo Romero, Roy Thomas, and Kelly Thompson. Fraction was also employed by Marvel Studios and Disney Plus as a consulting producer on Hawkeye. So it's unclear what, if any, Aja's compensation is. Unfortunately, it's not the first time Marvel Studios has been embroiled in a pay dispute with their comic book creators after heavily adapting their work. Former Captain America writer Ta-Nehisi Coates, boo, called out Marvel and Disney back in May, saying, quote, the corporate side of this, though, the corporate side of this is not pretty. It's not pretty at all. How you people who create the basis for this, I don't love it. Disney is also embroiled in a scandal where they are refusing to pay a number of their creators for rightfully owed royalties. Brought to public attention by the still ongoing Disney Must Pay campaign, Disney has denied rightfully owed royalty to a plethora of creators, including prominent Star Wars authors Alan Dean Foster and Michael A. Stackpole, whose works were acquired by the company by way of their purchase of such companies as Lucasfilms, Marvel, and Fox. Yeah, and I'm sure they're getting taken. That Disney's getting taken to court over this too. Saturday, December 15th. Hawkeye, Volume 4, Number 6, 6 Days in the Life, 2012. Word by Matt Fraction, art by David Aja. The first 2 episodes of Marvel's Hawkeye are now streaming on Disney Plus. What do you make of the fact that Aja received no credit or compensation for Hawkeye? Let us know your thoughts on social media or in the comments down below. Well, yeah, I mean, granted, these people are idiots, and if people are not buying their stuff because they're making stupid statements like Kelly, DeConnick did, then they deserve that. But the company, their higher ups, their companies don't have a right to deny these people their rightfully owed royalties. All right, regardless of whatever else is going on. Let's see, the same exhaust issue. It's so bad. Manifold involved at the check engine light and zero cruise control. Matt Fraction of a man. That's a good one, Matt Fraction of a man. And I'm sure Kelly Sue reminds him of that every night. That's gotta be sad. A woman like her sitting there telling hubby dearest that he's only a fraction of a man every night. Oh boy. Tennessee cokehead. Selfie, would you say I have a plethora or Hefe? Would you say I have a plethora? Lucas and Marvel and Fox. Oh my. Yeah. So, anyways, get ready to go on to the last comics article here. Now, this one I think has been somewhat talked about because I remember some people last week. People were talking probably they were alluding to this. Nobody was really saying what exactly was going on. I know RJ mentioned this. Critical Blast. I kind of was hearing some scuttlebutt rumors about this situation, not knowing exactly what's going on, of course. So here we go. Marvel's X-Men Green Arc sees Nature Girl murder store clerk over piece of litter escape punishment. Let me read that again, just for people to hear what they're saying. Marvel's X-Men Green Arc sees Nature Girl murder store clerk over piece of litter, escape punishment. Could this be another woke story? We'll find out. Article by Spencer Bacouli, published November 27th, which was this past Saturday. And what can charitably be described as a poorly executed attempt to create an edgy new, in small quotes, environmentalist mutant anti hero. The most recent storyline featured in Marvel's X-Men Unlimited digital series sees Nature Girl unapologetically murder a random store manager after finding a piece of litter from his establishment, only to be released from punishment thanks to the intervention of the sentient Krakoa. Oh, yeah, here we go. X-Men Green. Starring Nature Girl, the Avenging X-Men. Oh boy. Oh boy. This kind of sounds like almost a more extreme version of Captain. I don't know if you guys remember Captain Planet and the Planeteers, but this almost sounds like a much more extreme version. At least Captain Planet never actually murdered anybody. Source X-Men Unlimited Infinity Comic Volume 1, Number 5. Quote, X-Men Green 2021 Marvel Comics. Words by Jerry Dugan. Art by Emilio Liso and Rochelle Rosenberg. The Jerry Dugan written, Emilio Liso and Rochelle Rosenberg illustrated story, not so subtly titled X-Men Green, which they tell you pretty much right on the cover there it's an environmentalist story. Begins in the digital exclusive series 5th issue when the Botanopath, which I'm guessing is somebody who basically has some kind of telepathic connection to flowers or some kind of either telepathic or empathic connection with flowers or with plants. Sitting upon the beaches of Krakoa with a group of other mutants, sees a dying sea turtle stumble upon the shore. After comforting the reptile in its last moments before death and mourning its passing, Nature Girl discovers the oceanic creature's cause of death asphyxiation via grocery bag. Courtesy of the fictional Owens Grocery in Las Vegas, Nevada. My mutant, according to this, my mutant gift has joined me with the planet. I feel her every joy and pain, but these days there is far more pain and fever than ever before. X-Men Unlimited, Infinity Comic, Volume 1, Number 5, X-Men Green. Written words by Jerry Dugan and art by Emilio Liso and Rochelle Robinson. Opening a gate from Krakoa to Sin City, Nature Girl is next seen storming into the store, confronting the manager and blaming him for the litter, despite the fact that he is, at least, a middleman between the bag's producer and the individual who presumably discarded it. Quote, do you know where I found this bag? Unquote, demands Nature Girl to the store's understandably indifferent manager. Quote, it was lodged in the throat of a beautiful sea turtle. But even the manager was saying, "No, and no, and I don't care. Now get out. Get out of." In response, the manager fires back, quote, "Well, it may have been beautiful, but it wasn't that smart if it ate a plastic bag. Now you can buy something or," unquote, before being interrupted mid sentence by Nature Girl, who proceeds to fatally stab the man in the neck. Again, even this planet is not your toilet, you stupid barbarian. Oh boy, I'm just asking for trouble. Leftists are weird. Tough guys too. When a pen is in their hand. Hmm. Well, that didn't look like a pen. I think that looked like a pair of scissors. I believe. Yeah, she stabbed him with a pair of scissors. Oh, and look at her. Look at that. I don't know. I didn't even notice that at first there. So her name is Nature. Look at that. She's got antlers in her head. You guys see that? She's got antlers in her head. That's a hero. According to the left, yeah, that's apparently a hero backcoat. Uh, remember, we're talking about people who want to defund the police. We're talking about people who have no respect for any kind of law or order. She's a uh, she's aroused. Huh. No, Mike. I mean, the idiot that is actually penning this, that has never been in a real fight. You probably have a good point there, Beck. Yeah. And with stuff like this, you almost kind of wish somebody would pick a real fight with him just to pound some sense into him, right? Just kidding. We don't need anybody going out and trying to harm Jerry Dugan because he wrote a stupid story. After escaping from Las Vegas and charming a K9 unit, Saoirse to her side, um, along the way, the young mutant is soon confronted by Wolverine, who has been sent by Professor Xavier to track her down and bring her back to Krakoa for trial. However, Nature Girl manages to evade the longtime X-Men member, stealing his motorcycle while he battles a black bear whom the fugitive mutant, in a rather hypocritical move, coming from someone who claims to be on a crusade to protect the planet's wildlife and fauna, has manipulated it into fighting him to the death. Yeah, I would agree that that's a hypocritical move. Getting a wild beast to basically try to kill somebody for you. Laugh out loud. True that. True that though. Don't steal that bike. Don't tell me what to do. Like a bratty kid there. Yeah, lefties are anarchist. They are definitely anarchist. Should be dealt with accordingly. After briefly returning to Krakoa to pick up a few of her personal belongings, in the process of recruiting the mutant curse to her cause, Nature Girl next takes her crusades to, quote, somewhere in the Dakotas, unquote, joining a group of protesters and demonstrating against the construction of an oil pipeline by the Sinadine Oil Company. I'm sure everybody remembers the story a few years ago about the Dakota pipeline. That was going to hopefully bring jobs to a lot of. They probably again that's where they probably got the inspiration for that. The assembly then turns violent, with the pipeline workers turning to physically attack the protesters in an attempt to disperse the crowd. Yeah, you can really tell they're pushing the agenda here in the writing, huh? It is here that Nature Girl kills her second victim, as under threat of being struck from behind by a wrench wielding worker, the eco warrior turns quite literally to using her horns offensively, fatally slitting, fatally slitting her attacker's throat. Declaring war on the fictional oil company's Dakota based refinery, Nature Girl soon encounters the facility's resident metahuman security guard, Black Mamba, who attempts to use her ability to manipulate the dark force to prey upon the mutant's sense of guilt. However, confronted by a vision of her first victim, Nature Girl is shown to see her actions as a necessary evil. Quote, I'm dead because of you, yells the dark force generated ghost of the clerk. Quote, I didn't kill some turtle. Sure, some single use plastic did the trick, and it might have been from our shop. But don't you think you overreacted? Yes. Well, that's quite a visual right there. Guy's got a pair of scissors coming out his neck. I mean, you do have to give the artist credit here. This is kind of an interesting visual. They got the scissors stuck in the neck there. That that black stuff, I guess, supposed to be representing him bleeding out from that wound. Unmoved by his arguments, Nature Girl, who has lost her hair due to what she describes as an evolution, replies, I'm not sorry you're gone. You were just one of the problems infecting the planet. Quote, I would kill you again, she declares. Yeah, to the left, this is heroic. To the left, this is heroic. This behavior is heroic. It's a joke, Susan, and Google made it a, it's a joke, Susan, Susan, and Google made it is a fictional character, and Google mods it is a fictional character. Death is nature, girl. Again, fictional character. Yeah, but back go you know that's not gonna fly with the lefties. You know that. Gayer than AIDS. Oh boy. I simply cannot buy the girl. I simply cannot buy this girl as the spawn of Ric Flair. I don't really think she. I don't really think. I don't know how you got that idea. That nature girl was a spawn of Ric Flair, but uh, woo! Yeah. So. Oh yeah, and I don't know if you guys heard earlier because I saw this on the quartering, and I think there are a few other people talking about it, but I don't know if you guys heard, but Jack Dorsey stepped down as CEO of Twitter. I saw the quarterings video on it earlier, but the quartering was saying that that's not necessarily a good thing because somebody far, far worse. Nature boy, laugh out loud. Oh, okay. I get it now. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, but don't know if you guys heard about that. But Jack Dorsey apparently stepped down as Twitter CEO. But according to the quartering, apparently the guy replacing him may end up being even worse in the case of censorship than Dorsey was. So, for me, I really don't care because I wasn't planning on going back to Twitter anytime soon, anyways, if at all. So that's my 2 cents on it. Anyways, back to the article. Following her successful destruction of the refinery, Nature Girl is eventually captured by Wolverine, who returns both her and Curse to Krakoa to stand trial for killing a man. It's never specified whether she's being held accountable for the clerk's murder or the killing of the pipeline worker. Before the island's Quiet Council. Though Nature Girl attempts to justify her crimes on the grounds that Earth must be defended because it's the only planet she has to live on, as even terraformed locations such as Mars don't mesh correctly with her nature based abilities, her arguments do little to sway the Council, who eventually find two mutants guilty and sentence them to the customary Krakoan punishment of eternal waking confinement within the dark depths of the sentient island. I wonder if that means they basically just stick them in a very dark hole somewhere. I wonder if that's kind of the. Oh, look at this. They're like the two of them are being like kind of wrapped up in some kind of vine there. Two mutants are soon relinquished to their new prison, only to awaken a short while later, alive and fully conscious, to the sight of both Saurise and Cipher, the omnilingual translator who serves as a communication link between Krakoa and its resident population, who announces, quote, "This is your only get out of jail free card. You have to leave now." Quote, "Krakoa is paroling you," unquote. The former New Mutants member explained to the two. Quote, "The island will not abide the destruction of the world. Like you, it has nowhere else to go. But this is the end of your story in paradise. You're disavowed. You can't come back. You can't use the portals. You can't even you can't even be spotted. You're going to need to adopt other identities and go dark." So basically the island sent her away to again, you're seeing how leftists are really trying to pull their garbage here. Anyways, as we despite this, the island refuses to leave them completely in the gifting. Nature Girl, quote, "a bespoke cudgel with a few surprises in it," unquote, made from a piece of Krakoa itself before the two fugitives go into hiding, smuggled away from their former home by boat, courtesy of Pyro. First, Sauris, you come with me, you're probably going to skip the speech, go kick some ass. That's curse right there, yes. Including on a single shot of Sauris, Curse and Nature Girl, Krakoa staff in hand, disembarking in an unidentified city. The X-Men Green arc ultimately ends with the group's de facto leader declaring, quote, "Let's begin." What do you make of X-Men Green arc? Let us know your thoughts on social media or in the comments down below. I think this I think this is something that you don't want your kids to read. Gratuitous murder, extreme leftist propaganda. They're trying to spark revolution over the planet. All right, so that's the end of all the comic stories. We're about halfway through. We're also at the hour 10 mark. The next four should go a little bit quicker because we're going to head over to CBR here and catch up on some anime stories. Yeah, those four stories, I had some real commentary there for those. Let's see now. All right, so here we go. Enough comedy jokes. Uh, all right, so here we go. Mushoku Tensei: How to Get Started with the Light Novels, Manga, and Anime. Featuring a formless, homeless NEET who's reincarnated into the world of fantasy, Mushoku Tensei is in many ways the quintessential isekai. All right, so a NEET is basically somebody who's not in employment, education, or training. All right, that's what a NEET is. Somebody who's not in education, employment, or training. And an isekai is basically another anime that where you're taken to another world, basically. Article by Timothy Donahue, published 15 hours ago. So here we go. Isekai titles have a lot of interesting reincarnations for their heroes, many of which are much more exciting and interesting than their previous lives. This is definitely the case with Mushoku Tensei, Jobless Reincarnation, a series whose anime has become incredibly popular through streaming. And yeah, I've heard a little bit about this as well, Jobless Reincarnation. Featuring a formerly homeless NEET who's reincarnated into a fantasy world. Mushoku Tensei is in many ways the quintessential isekai. This is reflected not only in its fairly conventional storytelling, but also in all of the different forms that said story is taken. It's also attracted a fair bit of controversy, sending the jobless reincarnation working overtime. Here's what the series is about and where those interested can read and watch it. All right, so the plot of Mushoku Tensei. The protagonist of Mushoku Tensei is a man who has lost his home after the death of his parents. Despondent and deeming himself a failure, the lad still has some heroism about him, sacrificing himself in an act of absolution that saves a few teenagers from an oncoming truck. Upon dying, he's reincarnated in a fantasy world as a baby named Rudius Greyrat. That's a very interesting Rudius Greyrat, huh? That's a very interesting name. But he has all of the memories and knowledge of his previous life. His new sword and sorcery world is one ruled and fueled by magic, which he develops an early hand at, determined to make the most of this drastically changed situations of his drastically changed situations and make this life much more successful than his previous one. Rudius embarks to learn all that he can about magic from his non-human teachers. Kind of like what we try to do with our historical comics retrospect, right? Well, at least one of the things we try to do, anyways. You guys are still here, aren't you? You guys haven't disappeared on me, have you? Bat Goat Woody, you guys haven't left me, have you? Where to read the Mushoku Tensei light novels. Look at that ensemble right there. As mentioned, Mushoku Tensei is a lot like most isekai in how it got its start and subsequent media translations. It began in 2012 as a web novel by Refugin Mago Note, amassing 25 volumes in this form and running until 2015. In early 2014, it also received a light novel version that's still running, though Maganote does have an ending and a sequel already in mind. Localized in the West by Seven Seas Entertainment as Jobless Reincarnation, 13 of the 25 volumes have been officially translated into English, although only 14 are so far scheduled to be released in digital format. They can be purchased through Comixology, Amazon, Barnes& and Noble, and other major book retailers, with more coming in 2022. This localization downplays some of the more explicitly sexual themes in the original material, sparking a question of whether or not to continue localizing the series. So let's see. Still only one. Where to read the Mushoku Tensei manga? Seven Seas Entertainment also handles the localization for the manga version of Mushoku Tensei, which began in 2014. Yuka Fujikawa is the author and artist of the adaptation, with Shiro Taka handling the character designs. It continues to this day, adapting more and more of the original novel's 13 volumes. 13 volumes have been brought to the West, with localizations generally coming out about a year after the volume's original Japanese release. Many of the aforementioned retailers stock the manga version of the series, as do Walmart and Right Stuff Anime, making it just as easy to get into as the original novel series. Where to watch Mushoku Tensei anime? The biggest point of entry for the franchise has been the anime adaptation, which, as mentioned, is currently getting quite a few hits via streaming services. The anime was announced in late 2019 and premiered in 2021, with a second part recently airing starting in October. Funimation handles the series' English dub, and their streaming service is one way to watch the show. It's also available to stream on Hulu, with individual episodes up for purchase via YouTube and Amazon Prime. Unfortunately, the show is not without its critics, with one country in particular coming out against it. Mushoku Tensei was suspended from airing in China due to the supposed immoral nature of the content, with a popular online streamer even claiming that it was a series for quote unquote bottom feeders. This is on top of the criticism the show has received in general for its lascivious nature, particularly when it's aimed toward children. Nevertheless, these scandals haven't stopped Mushoku Tensei from becoming quite a hit, especially among isekai fans. So there we go with that story. And we got one person back. That's good. As always, I do appreciate any and all likes and shares. Let's get the items, see if we can get some more friendly people in here. Thank you for those. All right, so here we go with the next article. Let me just get a peek at the time here. We're at hour 21. We're going to have to speed up a little bit here. 5 anime and manga great for Tokyo Ghoul fans. Fans of the mega popular seinen series Tokyo Ghoul will surely enjoy these 5 additional anime and manga dark fantasy stories. Article by Lewis Kempner, published 13 hours ago. Wow, that's some interesting artwork there. Ishida's hit manga series Tokyo Ghoul soon inspired an anime adaptation of the same name and went on to become one of the best-selling manga titles of the 2010s. The dark seinen story stars Ken Kaneki, a bookish college student who finds himself thrust into the violent world of ghouls after he becomes a half ghoul himself. Tokyo Ghoul has elements of urban fantasy, vampire style gothic undertones, a deep mystery, and much more. But longtime fans of the franchise can enjoy some other seinen manga titles or seinen style shonen series in a similar vein. These stories, like Tokyo Ghoul, often feature gritty and morally gray anti-heroes um, who fight for survival in dark worlds. Chainsaw Man features a monstrous hero fighting other monsters. Ooh, wow. Author Tatsuki Fujimoto has made waves in the manga world with dark but intriguing series such as Fire Punch and the Look Back One Shot. But his biggest claim to fame is the seinen style shonen series Chainsaw Man. This series is also set to be adapted into an anime soon, with a trailer already available. And we've been covering that story as well. And it should be coming out soon, as they said. Chainsaw Man fits the quote unquote Monster Hunter archetype, taking place in a world where monsters or devils stalk the streets and brutally massacre humans with impunity. Some of them are small and easily dispatched by devil hunters, who sometimes fight alongside devil partners of their own. The story's hero is Denji, a down on his luck boy who, in a moment of desperation, fuses with his tiny chainsaw dog devil pet, Pachi, and becomes the part devil chainsaw man. He agrees to work as a devil hunter in exchange for keeping his life and token pay. Pushing himself to the limit with his gory chainsaw based fighting style, like Tokyo Ghoul's Kaneki, Denji is a tamed monster who lives in a world where there are few clear quote unquote good guys and quote unquote bad guys. See? Alright, so Berserk is the apex of dark fantasy manga, And I've seen the Berserk. I've seen the '90s Berserk anime. That one was pretty gory. The late Kentaro Miura launched his legendary Berserk manga in 1989, and it soon became an icon of the dark fantasy genre worldwide. Berserk has it all: impactful and heartbreaking drama, stunning and creative illustrations, a compelling story with gripping characters, exciting action sequences, and more than a few timeless themes of revenge, love, ambition, betrayal, and healing. Yeah, it is a pretty interesting series. I'll give it that. The series' future is unclear in the wake of Mr. Miura's passing, but there is more than enough exciting material for Tokyo Ghoul fans to try out. Berserk is a tale of Guts, a mercenary who endures great hardship with betrayal, destiny, monsters, and war. He is on a quest for vengeance after his former boss, the charismatic Griffith, sacrificed almost everything to become a dark god. Tokyo Ghoul fans should enjoy Berserk's gritty fantasy action and its vicious anti hero who, like Kaneki, struggles with his inner darkness, especially after he dons the Berserker armor. This armor makes him strong, but it eats away at his body and soul alike in the process. Before I continue on, I've got to step away from the computer for a couple minutes. I'll be right back, guys. All right, so I'm back now. Oh God! Oh dear God! Anime, I just can't. Manga, whatever. Is there's a sort of angst in Japan. Actually, everything I know about Japan, I learned in the movie Lost in Translation. Photo Chad was on Reikita today. He's unable to work at his big box more because people walk up to him and cuss him out for being a witness. Hmm. And it looked like you got stepped away again. Anyways, here we go with the next. As we continue with this story here, Elfin Lied is a story of misunderstood monsters. This one was kind of interesting too. I've seen this one before. Lin Okamoto's original Elfin Lied manga and its anime adaptation are more colorful and cartoony than Tokyo Ghoul. But the actual story is just as dark and has remarkably similar themes. Elfin Lied imagines a world divided into two between paranoid humanity and humanoid others, quote unquote, um, who just want to live and are willing to kill to secure their own place in the world. The quote unquote others are diclonians, beings who have the power to create vector arms to control the world around them. These are like kind of shadowy, ghostly arms that actually elude from their body's aura. Um, or just tear people apart. Yeah, this is a pretty gory. Um, the main Diclonius in the story is a girl named both Lucy and Yu, which describes her two personalities. Yu is gentle and childlike, unaware of her true powers. Lucy, however, is vicious and cynical, having killed many people in a desperate attempt to find her place in a world dominated by humans. Her only human friend, Kota, wants to help her, but Lucy might be his worst enemy as well as his best friend. Jujutsu Kaisen explores curses in a dark modern world. Oh, look at that! Look at that mouth hand. That kind of reminds me of Data from Naruto. Jujutsu Kaisen is another seinen-style shonen story and remains ongoing, with tens of millions of manga volumes sold as of this writing, containing a lot of overlap with both Tokyo Ghoul and Chainsaw Man. Jujutsu Kaisen takes place in a gritty world where monsters and mayhem are the norm. Curses are the physical manifestation of humanity's negative emotions, and they range from misshapen demonic creatures to intelligent humanoids who dream of world domination. Story's hero is Yuji Itadori, an athletic boy who accidentally became the vessel for Ryomen Sukuna, the almighty king of curses. Now Yuji must collect the rest of Sukuna to prevent his return, but at the same time, Sukuna may grow powerful enough to overwhelm his human host and become greatest threat the world has ever seen. Jujutsu Kaisen's protagonist is a hero with the powers of a villain, making him much like Ken Kaneki. Attack on Titan features a monstrous anti-hero. Let's see. You guys still here? Bat Goat Woody, you guys still here, man? Don't forget, even after the anime stuff here, we still got This Day Needs History too. Attack on Titan features a monstrous anti-hero. So here we go with this part. Attack on Titan anime is set to return in 2022. Though Hajime Isayama's original manga has already been completed, this is a story of politics, paranoia, war, man-eating giants called Titans, and the international conflict. And of course, we heard about Paul Gosar's usage of Attack on Titan. That was pretty interesting. The plot scope steadily expands as the world and its lore are unveiled bit by bit. Attack on Titan seems like a zombie survival story with plus-size monsters at first, but it soon becomes a whole lot. Well, in this case, you can call them big monsters or giant monsters because they're not plus size in the way that most people like utilizing that term. They're not like fat or anything like that. They're just very large. Tokyo Ghoul fans may appreciate Attack on Titan's anti-hero Eren Yeager most of all. Like Kaneki, Eren was once an ordinary boy who became corrupted by the horrors around him. Resolving to fight monsters by becoming one himself, and in more than one way, his father Grisha turned him into the mighty Attack Titan. And then Eren absorbed 2 more Titans before launching a campaign to forcibly rid the entire world of his perceived enemies across the continents. Attack on Titan's hero has become the ultimate villain. Wow. That's quite a damning statement there. All right, so he'll be the next. Still here. Sometimes we put her around while listening to our phone over at the table across the room or and put her with our putters. A little golfing there, and that's not disc golfing. That's traditional golfing, the sport that the Scottish came up with. You take a club and try to hit a little white ball into a hole yards away. So. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure releases Stone Ocean Anime's colorful opening sequence. Warner Brothers Animation reveals a stylish and catchy opening title sequence for the new season of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure anime. Article by Michael Cerna, published 12 hours ago. So this is a third of the 4. So we're almost done here. We're like 3/4 of the way through the story. So got this one and one more. So Prison gets a splash of color in the opening sequence of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Stone Ocean arc. The new clip from the upcoming anime adaptation of the next part of Hirohiko Araki's long-running Manga was unveiled during Warner Brothers Animation's latest live stream, which was held on November 28th. So yesterday, basically. The stream featured appearances from the voice actors who will portray this season's central trio of female protagonists. Fairuz Ai, who voices Jolene, Mutsumi Tamura, the voice of Hermes Costello, and Marie Issei, who will portray Foo Fighters. So they actually got a character named after a band, named after an alt rock band. That's interesting. The stream also revealed the show's colorful CG animated intro with introductions more of the appropriately bizarre cast of characters, and shows off more of the season's main setting, the Green Dolphin Street Jail. The intro also gives a few short glimpses of fan favorite Jotaro Kujo, the protagonist of the Stardust Crusaders and Jolene's father. And most likely, when the English dub is released, they'll most likely the ending theme will probably be from a particular, will probably be a alt rock or modern rock hit from a particular time, probably the 2000s. I would take it, probably from like 2009, if I under maybe even 2019 for all we know. But anyways, the new season of the show is based on part 6 of the manga entitled Stone Ocean. The new chapter of the series takes place 10 years after the conclusion of Golden Wind arc, and focuses on a new descendant of Joseph Joestar, Jolene Kujo. After a suspicious car accident leaves her lover dead, Jolene is sent to prison. After a visit from her father, Jolene learns of her abilities as a stand user and becomes drawn into her family's generation-spanning conflict with Dio Brando. The Warner Brothers Animation stream also revealed that Tomokazu Seki, who previously voiced Panda in Jujutsu Kaisen and Gilgamesh in Fate Grand Order, Absolute Demonic Front Babylonia, will play the role of Enrico Pucci, Green Dolphin Street Jail's chaplain and the main antagonist of the arc. 12 episodes from the Stone Ocean arc will be released exclusively on Netflix on December 1st. That's this Wednesday, 2 days from now. The new season represents the biggest of Netflix's recent anime acquisitions, which also includes the new teenage slice of life series Komi Can't Communicate, as well as the latest season of the Pokemon anime. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure premiered in 1987. Araki's stylish series is one of the best-selling manga series of all time, having managed to achieve 100 million copies in circulation worldwide in its more than 30 years of publication. Part 8 of the ongoing series, JoJo Lion, recently concluded its decade-long serialization. The series has been confirmed to continue with a 9th part, which will begin production once Araki returns from a hiatus. Viz Media localizes and distributes the manga in North America. So there we go. We have one more article to get through. I'll check the time in a moment here, as soon as I get to that. Oh, yes. This one right here. All right. So, yeah, we're making good time. We're at hour 46. We're on the last story, so we'll probably be wrapping up pretty soon, right after we get done here. Jujutsu Kaisen beats Demon Slayer My Hunter Academia to become Japan's best-selling manga of 2021. Gege Akutami's dark fantasy series surges ahead of Shonen Jump contemporaries to become Japan's biggest manga hit of the year. Article by Michael Cerna published 10 hours ago. Jujutsu Kaisen is officially Japan's best-selling manga of 2021. Japanese sales tracker Oricon released its yearly ranking of the best-selling manga titles for 2021, revealing that Gege Akutami's Tale of Sorcerers and Curses just barely outsold Koyoharu Gotoge's Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba. Jujutsu Kaisen sold over 30 million copies in Japan this year, while Demon Slayer pulled in 29.5 million in its final year serialization. While Demon Slayer didn't claim the overall top spot, its 23rd and final volume was the best selling single volume of a manga in the region for the year. With over 5 million copies sold, it is worth noting that the Oricon sales charts only track physical sales and do not include revenue generated from digital manga sales. All right. Ken Wakui's time-traveling drama Tokyo Revengers came in third for the year with about 25 million copies sold. Attack on Titan came in a distant fourth with 7.3 million copies sold. Like Demon Slayer, Hajime Isayama's Titan-killing thriller also came to a conclusion this year and published its final volume in Japan last summer. My Hero Academia rounded out the top 5 with a little over 7 million copies sold. Those are some pretty impressive numbers. Despite recent decline in circulation, Weekly Shonen Jump titles still continue to dominate the sales charts. Some have questioned whether the king of manga magazines will be able to stay on top, however, as many of the publication's most popular titles will soon be coming to an end. As previously mentioned, Demon Slayer concluded its serialization earlier this year. And My Hero Academia announced in March that the superhero series had entered its quote unquote final part. One Piece, which is the best selling manga of all time and has been Shonen Jump's most consistently popular title for the last 24 years, also appears to be entering its final act, with Eiichiro Oda dropping several hints that the long running series will be concluding soon. Regardless, Jujutsu Kaisen continues to be a certified hit. The manga recently announced that it will surpass 60 million copies in circulation by the end of December, surpassing the lifetime circulation numbers of older series such as My Hero Academia, Berserk, Haikyuu, and Inuyasha. Akutami's popular manga series only premiered in 2018 and shows no sign of ending anytime soon. Sales of the series were boosted this year thanks to the premiere of MAPPA's well-received anime adaptation of the series. The series will soon also see the premiere of its first theatrical release, the prequel movie Jujutsu Kaisen Zero. If the franchise manages to keep up this momentum, it is on track to become only the 19th manga series in history to surpass a circulation of 100 million copies, joining the likes of classics such as One Piece, Golgo 13, Dragon Ball, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, and Naruto. Oh, there you go. Oh, there we go. So that's the end. We did 8 stories tonight. I'm hoping you all stuck with me for a good part of it. We're now at an hour 52, so I think it's a good time to start wrapping up. So hopefully people are still here. I would ask if you guys are ready for this day in each history. All right. Well, it would appear, I guess, nobody else is here other than me. So, I guess I'll just go ahead and wrap this up then. So, today being Monday, November 29th, 2021, let's take a look back at this day in Nietzsche history. History! So let me just remind myself of a few things here. 2071, 2011, and 1996. Okay. Alrighty then. So here we go with this day in each history. So our first stop, head back 50 years ago today. As on this date, 50 years ago today, up in Vancouver, British Columbia, Mark Lewin and Stephen Littlebear defeated Bulldog Bob Brown and Big Thunder Gene Kiniski for the NWA Canadian Tag Team titles, the Vancouver version of the NWA Canadian Tag Team titles. So on this date, 50 years ago, in Vancouver, British Columbia, Mark Lewin and Stephen Littlebear would defeat Bulldog Bob Brown and Big Thunder Gene Kiniski, former NWA World Champion, by the way. There, Gene Kiniski, for the Vancouver version of the NWA Canadian Tag Team Championships. Oh, there we go with that one. Great. Now it says 0. It shouldn't be 0 because I'm still on there at least. Should. All right. Moving on to the next piece of Nietzsche history here. As on this date in 1996, which was 25 years ago today, KSS released the first chapter of the OVA series Variable Geo. So on this date, 25 years ago today, KSS released the first chapter of the OVA Variable Geo. All right. So, anyways, all right. So the next piece in each history. On this day in the year 2000, which was 21 years ago today, Image Comics released the 10th and final issue of Telos on this date in 2000. It sold for $2.95 and it was 32 pages. So on this date, 21 years ago today, back in 2000, the 10th and final issue of Telos from Image Comics went on sale on this date. So there we have that. And then finally, on this date in 2011, the Marvel animation series Black Panther was canceled on this date in in 2011. Was running on BET, Black Entertainment Television. Um, the actual first run of the episodes, I think, ended back sometime in earlier in the year, but then they were, I guess, repeating. So at this point, it was canceled. So on this date in 1996 or 2011, the Marvel Studios animation, Marvel Studios Black Panther was canceled. So anyways, hurrah for Telos. All right, guys. Well, anyways, I thank you guys for being here tonight. I thank you guys for all the likes and shares. I do appreciate it. This Friday, of course, we will be getting back to the historical comic retrospect. Hopefully, I'll find out from Batgoat within the next couple of days if he's going to be here or not. I know he's planning on, I know between now and 2 weeks from now, he's planning on leaving to go, go visit his, I guess, grandmother or mother out here in California. But hopefully, I'll find out in the next couple of days. So hopefully Batcoat will be here. And if not, I will make sure to find somebody to fill in for him. Where we're not going to do too much dead air like we did last time. Anyway, thanks, Mike. No problem, Woody, and thank you for being here. So I once again, thank everybody for being here. You guys for the likes and shares, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.